Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the little stuff that happened, okay, on Ready to Love. So Lyndon and Marcia seem to both be there to make nice with Tony. Did anybody else notice that? It was annoying me a little bit. Regardless to the fact that Tony, I feel like, has shown Marcia that he is manipulative and not to be trusted. I don't know why she spent this whole episode coddling him and making sure that he knew it was okay that he was being called egomaniacal, even though she then turned around and told us that she would not go on any evening dates with him, and he can go and, go with her to get her pina colada, but they not going on no real dates. And I'm like, why is that? You done sat on this stage for the whole reunion, and I feel like basically bigged him up and supported him and coddled him through this process, all for you to turn around and tell us that you wouldn't even go out on a date with this nigga? Girl, make it make sense. And Lyndon, he spent the whole season trying to get you off. So why did you feel the need to make sure that Tony and everybody knew that you wasn't trying to get him kicked off the show and you always spoke highly of him? What type of nut sucking is going on around here? It's giving nut suck. I don't like it. I don't like it. Marcia and Morgan started to go back and forth because Morgan called Marcia a distraction and she got upset. And it's like, girl, but that's how he treated you. Like, that's how it happened, okay? Morgan, I'm gonna need for you to chill out, because whether Marcia was a second choice or not, he obviously didn't stress her out as much as he stressed you out. So calm down, okay? Because I feel like that's a win. Because she may be right. You do look like a fool being this upset behind a nigga that's been looking like a clown since the very beginning. Andre, Anthony, Cynthia, and Jeffrey. Girl, what the fuck is going on? Are there any videos anywhere where somebody can tell me what the hell happened between Cynthia and Anthony? Because I'm unclear. She said that he has certain things about him that caught her off guard, and she realized that she was emotionally unavailable, so she needed to take a step back so she can, be better equipped. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck does that mean? Why are y'all not together? What does he have going on that made you pull back? Like, what? But I always tell y'all, if a man is coloring his hair and his beard, you cannot trust him. And Anthony was sitting up there letting his fucking soul glow, glistening, okay? But just as jet black as he wanted to be. If y'all gonna color y'all hair, I'm gonna need for y'all to realize that y'all don't have jet black hair. Y'all never had jet black hair. Y'all need to get a number 4. Y'all need to be somewhere between a 2 and a 4. But whatever this jet black that you niggas go get, it's a mistake that y'all shouldn't have made. Andre says that he's never had to date multiple women at the same time. You're a lie. You ain't never dated a whole bunch of women at one time and told them about it. That's what you hadn't done. Marcia says he's lying backstage, and Mark Anthony defends him. Mark Anthony is going to spend the whole episode defending every nigga on stage, regardless of whether they are right or wrong, and is giving pick me. I know as men, y'all feel like you're defending yourself, but really your defense of someone else, whether they are right or wrong, simply because they have a penis. Can you think about that for a second? Can you think about that for a second? That no matter what a person does, you will find a way to make an excuse for them simply because they have a dick. Something is wrong with you. Something's wrong with Mark Anthony. Jeffrey says that she feels Andre knew he didn't want to take on her and her 3 kids before the end of the show, but he wanted to make it to the end of the show. And I agree with her. He asked, how are they going to have time for their kids if he's being a stepdaddy to hers? And I said, so are you going to have the children in different houses or something? Because I'm confused about how you can't make more children and then just take care of all the kids the same way. Why do you have to create a separation in your mind? Y'all, I really want men to admit that they don't like to do anything that makes them uncomfortable. Anything that makes them have to make sacrifices for somebody else that they may not want to make, they don't want to do that. And I just want you to admit that and be single and be alone and stop trying to trick women into being in these long-term, one-way fucking relationships with y'all, because it's really exhausting for y'all to always find a way to flip blame on somebody simply because you don't feel like doing what's required to be with them, or to act as if they're no longer worthy of what you said they were worthy of before, simply because it's hard for you now and you don't want to do it. Like, children are hard in general. They're hard when they're your own kids, let alone when they're somebody else's. And a lot of you men do not have the emotional or mental capacity to be there for somebody else's child, because the only way you can love something is if it belongs to you. And something is wrong with y'all. Okay? I don't care how delusional Jeffrey is in her storm wig. Y'all are not about to act like what he did up there was okay, or like it was surprising. It's some punk ass nigga shit to do, and Andre always came off as a punk ass nigga. We get on Tony for being a ladies' man, and you know, Tommy asked why he's so smooth, and he says because he was raised by all women. And I said, oh, there it is. But when it comes to being a ladies' man and being raised by a lot of women, it gives underlying aggression towards women. A lot of his attitude gives, I have to get my way. And if I don't get my way, then I'm going to have a temper tantrum. So that gives, you were the only boy, so the women probably coddled you. And then on top of that, they probably did everything for you. And so you expect that from women now as an adult man. And in this society, which is another factor, you have this feeling of being angry at the women because there are no men around. And you feel like the men aren't around because the women are there. I think something happens whenever men are not in the household, or not in the community or the environment the way they should be. The male children or the girl children, child, the children, they get mad at the parent that's still there because they don't have a reference point for the male figure that they're really angry about. So then instead of being mad at other men, they have a relationship where they try too hard to impress other men, lying on their dick, fronting like they got it like that when they don't, pretending like they don't care about the women that they're telling that they care about. And it's passive aggressive because they act like they really love women, but that's really so that they can get the pat on the back from other men, because they don't really have love and respect for women, because they treat women badly, passive aggressively, matter of fact, lie to you, treat you bad, ignore you, then gaslight you and tell you that it's your fault that they're responding to you in the way they are. Tony was raised by all women. Tony broke the rules dating Natasha after she left. He ghosted her, blocked her, and he got on a tirade of self-righteousness, telling us that he decided to block all her text messages and phone calls like she was sweating him because she told the producers that they slept together, and she was doing that for clout. Boy, fuck you. Everything you did on this show was for clout. He ghosted her and blocked her because she told the producers they slept together. He says that she was clout chasing. He says that she was sweating him. She says he said he was a man of God and a good father, and he's not. I said, oh, what you mean he not a good father? Natasha, what's tea? He was manipulative. Duh, I've been telling y'all that. Ever since he told y'all that he was a man of God and let's pray, I told y'all manipulator. Because none of the, y'all, what makes you a Christian? Just that you believe in Christ? You don't have to actually do nothing in order to like practice your Christianity? Because sometimes I feel like y'all don't know the difference between, you know, maybe a belief system and actually like being a religious person. And everybody likes to put on like they're a religious person, but I don't see it in practice. Like, you're out here having sex with all these women, lying to them. Where's the God in that? Lying about how you feel about them, fronting in front of the homeboys to make yourself look better. Where's the God in that? Like, I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I tell you I don't like that shit. I need to see God in the way you act. I need to see God in the way you handle yourself. I need to see God in your integrity. And if you mean what you say and say what you mean, I need you to be honest and be real and be upfront. Then I can look at you and be like, oh, okay, so him being a man of God means something to him. You are not a good man if you think your integrity and respect only lies in your relationships with other men. If you don't feel like you have to be honest and keep your word to everybody around you, you don't have fucking integrity. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no integrity involved in that. You're a wimp. You're a wimp that wants to look good to other men. And I need you to go to therapy and get that the fuck figured out. The reason why Corvea and all of the other women want y'all to go to therapy is because once you go to therapy, you start to realize how all of these issues that everybody have. And then once you realize how everybody have issues, you start to realize that for the longest, yeah, you got your issues too. But a lot of times, the shit that you done got into it with other people is their shit too. The way they respond to you, how they handle you is a reflection of who they are and what they've gone through and what they need to fix for themselves. Tommy checks Tony and tells him that he needs to get it together and show more respect for the black women because we've been holding their asses up for forever. I said, child, preach. We is tired, sir. Protecting them from consequences to their own actions is not how you support people. Black women, stop saving the day. Save yourself, bitch. Okay? Save yourself. Mercedes and Mark Anthony. She chose herself because he would be like a boat without a sail. A boat without a sail. Bitch, a boat just in the ocean floating. Okay? Just a boat with nowhere, ain't going nowhere. Just a rocking in the water, ain't going nowhere. That's a huge teller that somebody is not self-motivated to me. That's what that sounds like. You sound stagnant. Which makes all that perpetration and phony shit that I was picking up off Mark Anthony obvious. It's real. All right, y'all. Let's talk about Put a Ring on It. I really like Dr. Peach. She's good, girl. She's good. She's really, really good. So, y'all, Ricky says what he needs from Catherine. And Catherine gives pushback. And Dr. Peach basically explains how you've been asking for this man to tell you what it is that he wants. And when he tell you what he wants from you, then you say, nah, that's not true. Like, what is that about? There is a huge codependency going on between Ricky and Catherine. And I want Catherine to see herself clearly, and I don't think that she does. So everyone is going on dates with other people at the same damn time. So you know this episode about to be real stressful, girl. And also, Jasmine, you're extremely insecure. Like, you're extremely insecure. I don't know why, but I want it to stop. Catherine and old boy Marcus have a good time, but once again, you can't trust a man that's Beijinging his hair and his beard, okay? He doesn't want kids. He's into real estate. And the main part about Catherine and Marcus' second date was that he was very affectionate and flirty and physical. But Ricky wasn't really bothered by anything that they seemed to be doing. Brittany the boss comes to get Jasha. And it's beef between she and Joya off rip. Girl, like it was just real. The energy between them two was real nice, nasty, but kind of unnecessary. And I thought it was so funny because Zay then spent the rest of his date worrying about Jasmine. And Jasmine, I feel like, didn't even reference Zay on that date. Not one time. Didn't look at him. Didn't say nothing about him. They talked about the type of, woman she is. The type of woman that he wants. The guy's name was Sean. And he was saying he likes a strong woman. He like a woman that can come and reel him back in. And Jasmine was like, but in a respectful way. He was like, see, that's the key thing, respectfully. But still, they were talking, having good conversation. At one point, they both started to talk about losing their parents. And Zay is catching an attitude with his date because she says, yeah, I saw that she was behind us. Because it's awkward for your girlfriend to be behind us right now. And all I see is you looking at her. But I don't think she meant to shade Jasmine when she said she. She was just like, this is awkward. And he says, it's Jasmine, not she. Like, put some respect on her name. And she was like, oh shit, my bad, fuck. That was a turn off. Now I don't have nothing else to say. And in all honesty, I would have got up and left. Let's go back to Jasha and Joya. So while Jasha is over there getting massages and shit from Brittany the boss, who I feel like was doing way too much for his attention in competition with Joya, y'all, Jacoby spends the rest of his date saying how he could never take a single mom seriously because he's gotten himself to a certain echelon of top tier women. Not to say that a single mom isn't top tier, but I don't want to have the conversation with your son that I'm not his daddy and all of this type of stuff. And I was just sitting up there like, girl, I would have ended that date right there. I don't know why y'all have to pretend like the date hasn't now taken a turn for the worse. When all you got to do is say, hold up, I'm offended. I don't like where this is going. I feel like I'm about to get upset. You'll go ahead and have a blessed day, sir, but this date is over. I would have ended the date. I don't give a fuck about production. That date would have been over. Oh my God. Like, That whole conversation, I was like, nigga, I thought it was bad when you walked into the gym with a heavy chain on your neck. But now to hear you talking out the side of your neck like this, I was just kind of like, get this the fuck out my face. So then they have a meeting with Dr. Peach. Catherine says that she really enjoyed Marcus's affection and attention. He paid a lot of attention to her, and she realized that's what she was missing with Ricky. Ricky says it was all good. Dr. Peach calls him out on not really, talking about how he's feeling. And he says that he didn't feel anything. And Catherine says, well, that's bothersome. If you don't feel nothing, you see me going out on a date with a man and I'm opening up to him the way I open up to you, and you don't have a problem with that? I'm like, I don't necessarily think that's the problem. I don't think the problem is that, oh, he's not all jealous behind you. I don't think that's what your problem really is. I feel like he just don't feel you like that. And that's what the problem is. He don't have to be jealous and act a fucking fool and all of this other shit, because everybody else went on dates too. But to me, I think it was more so about the fact that y'all have created a codependent relationship, and you've become so dependent on him in this relationship that you can't see how unattractive that is to him. But I also feel like you shouldn't have never did that to yourself. I'm still looking at Catherine like, girl, why did you move away from where you were so that you can become dependent upon this man? I don't understand. But I also feel like Ricky was full of shit. And I also feel like, Ricky, if you don't want that lady, just say that. Kiki and Tisha are still talking the way we saw them at the end of last episode at the little gym. And nobody's taking accountability, okay? First of all, Tisha, girl, I'm so fucking mad at you because you could have been told us this story. Like, why would you not have been said this? And this is what makes me feel like you worse than Kiki, even though you act like you not. Because both of y'all have made insinuations about the other person. Both of y'all have put each other on blast in one way or another. Kiki has not put anything that has actually gone on between Tisha and Marcel on blast. Yet every time we turn around, Tisha is telling somebody Kiki's business. Now, she may not have told the public what the issue was at first, but she damn sure told Mel and Martel. And we all know that was really Marcel's doing than Tisha's. And I'm not mad about it, but I also feel like, Tisha, I'm trying to understand how you don't see that you put your cousin business out there way worse than she put yours out there, but somehow we can't get you to be also accountable for the things you've done, like keeping Kiki off this show, and then on top of that, bringing her on the show, making her think that you were going to help her get on the show for you ultimately not to. Girl, Tisha told us that her and Kiki was thick as thieves, right? And Kiki was coming around, and Tisha had her baby, her last baby, had a C-section. Girl, why the fuck Kiki was coming in there to steal Tisha's pain medication? Now, I'm not mad at Tisha and Marcel for telling, Mel and Martel, hey, so, my cousin coming over. The last time I was around her, she stole my C-section pain medication. So can you do me, a favor? Make sure you lock your shit up. Because she just got out of rehab, and she said she was on a good foot. But this ain't the first time she done been to rehab and said she was on a good foot. So hide your shit. Tisha, if you would have told us that back then, it would have made so much sense. But I feel like the fact that y'all drew it out and you wouldn't say what it was for the longest, that by the time we found out about what Kiki actually was going through, nobody gave a fuck, first of all. And then second of all, she never really said anything about Marcel. She never really said anything about your relationship with Marcel. The only thing she said was that there were times in your relationship where you questioned whether you wanted to stay married to him or not. And bitch, that sounds like a fact of life. I do feel like Marcel said it to be messy. But my point remains that Tisha threw that out there, and she could have just said that shit a long time ago, and we would have understood where she was coming from. Because when she said, I questioned you about stealing my pain meds and you told me fuck me and my baby, I couldn't fuck with you no more after that. If Tisha would have said that shit last season, everybody would have been on Tisha's side. But Tisha held on to all of this information until this moment, and I just don't understand why. You know why? Because somebody must have came to her and said, you ain't spilling enough tea. We still don't know what the fuck then happened between you and Kiki. So that's why the first scene we see with Tisha, for real, she's spilling all the tea. That's why I don't know if I can trust Tisha and Marcel's storyline this season. That's the one thing about Tisha and Marcel that aggravates the fuck out of me. They will do one thing on camera, and then when everybody responds to what they do on camera, they act like we not seeing what we seeing, and they just pretending for the show. I'm like, okay, girl. But I feel like essentially it was also done in tandem with keeping Kiki off the show. I think Tisha wanted to be the only person from her family that was running shit on this show. I don't think she really wanted to give her cousin the platform next to her because she thought her cousin might overshadow her or may steal the limelight from her, because Tisha is very competitive when it comes to other women, thanks to Wanda. So I feel like she didn't want to help Kiki the way she said she would help Kiki, because she didn't want Kiki to come on the show and take her spot. So she sabotaged Kiki getting on this show. And Kiki stayed cool at first. Remember when she came on the show to defend Letitia to Kimmy? Y'all remember that? That was, I'm still going to stand by my cousin's side because she said she going to get me on this show. And then a whole 2 seasons went by and we didn't see shit from Kiki again until Kiki popped up with Mel. And I think it was because she started to feel a way and look at it like, oh, Tisha trying to keep me from getting on this show. She was supposed to help me. Seemed like she's trying to keep me from getting on this show. Okay, so now, because I've been put in a fucked up situation, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And if I can go to Mel and get on this show, then that's what I'm going to do. And I think that Mel jumped at the opportunity because for the longest, as an executive producer and the lead on this show, y'all have been draining her of all of her information and then leaving the Scotts to merely be there to respond to it and not have to really give anything of real value. And I know everybody will feel like that's fucked up, but I don't care. I'm sorry. That's another thing I don't care about. Mel said, I'm tired of y'all using me. Get somebody else to do it. And she, as an executive producer, started bringing people on the show that was supposed to help rattle other people on the show to get their shit to be put out there, since everybody want to just focus on hers. Y'all, we finally got to meet Marcel's daddy, and I have so much shit that I'm trying to understand about this situation. So Marcel shows his dad around Black. His dad still lives in Michigan, and his dad hasn't seen Black since they first bought the property 2 years ago. It's a dream to sit down and smoke a cigar with his daddy. I'm like, oh, look, I love when you men just show how much y'all love all of these simplistic, hyper masculine moments with y'all fathers. Oh, sitting down and smoking nasty cigars and giving each other cancer. It's so fun. Just moments you hope for. Moments you hope for, son. But his dad tells him he's proud of him. But don't forget to make a life and not just a living. His dad says, I just went on my first cruise when I made 50 years old. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made with you and that my dad made with me. Make sure you spend the time with your family. You're going to turn around, your kid's going to be grown, and your wife going to have gray in her hair. So you need to make sure that you are also enjoying your life. And Marcel talks about how he don't, he hear what his dad is saying, but it's about building legacy. It's not really about money as much, almost as if, Dad, you was just getting paychecks. I'm over here building a business so my kids can have for the rest of their life. We was doing 2 different things. But at the end of the day, I got this. They go on enough vacations. Dad, I don't know if you know, but them being on this reality show affords them the extra income to go to Africa for a month, 2 weeks, however long it was, without his wife and kids. It also allows for them to take trips together. But the message was sent. But I'm just kind of like, wasn't this the same daddy that left you and your left the mama to raise the kids by herself, and y'all had to, what was y'all, homeless at one point? Where was the daddy when he was missing out on Christmases because he was working at the GM Motors? I'm just a little confused because to me, it felt like the daddy had left them destitute at some point. But now it sounds like the daddy was there the whole time paying bills and that's why he wasn't around. Oh, okay. Tisha and Kimmy, their conversation was a prime example, talking about how they got to jump through fucking hula hoops in order to get these niggas to do the things that they want them to do. And I just kind of, while I was listening to them talk, it was reminding me of how I used to have to ask my dad for things when I was a kid. You got to make sure he in a good mood. You got to make sure you did everything you could possibly do to make him feel good about you before you go to him and ask him for anything. And then you have to word it a certain way. Like just all of this stretching yourself into a fucking pretzel just to get the simplest thing that you want out of the situation that you probably shouldn't even have to go this hard for. But the person is so difficult that you just have to do all of these mental gymnastics in order to get them to give you what you need, instead of being able to just flat out say, hey, I want this. Can we make this happen? Can you do the, hey babe, I need this. Can you make this happen for me? Like, I can't just ask you. I have to fuck you, suck you, and find a way to say it in a way that doesn't make you feel like it's an attack. When I tell y'all, I am so done and tired of that shit. When I was listening to Kimmy and Tisha talk about how they gotta approach the Scott men, I was just like, are y'all talking about y'all husbands or y'all daddies? Because it reminded me of when I used to be trying to get my daddy to let me go somewhere or to pay for something for me or to give me money. It reminds me of having to go to a parent that is always trying to tell you no about something. Tisha and Kimmy are probably shortening their lifespan whenever they have to have these types of conversations with their husbands, in my opinion. And if I'm tired of Kimmy raising the octave of her voice too. I'm tired of that. So Tisha and Marcel have a new business partner, unbeknownst to Tisha. This guy named Gino that Marcel had done business with prior. He brought Gino on as an actual employee of Scope without telling Tisha. Tisha is 85% owner in the business, and she walks into her office one day and a man is sitting in her chair with his plaque, his diploma on the wall. And she said that Marcel wouldn't even let her put her diploma on the wall. And I said, let you? He wouldn't let you? And this is the shit that I be talking about. Bitch, you done lost your fucking mind. Let you? You got to get permission to put your diploma on a fucking wall in your office that you own? Girl, that's too much. And then Mel called and things got awkward. I don't know what's going on here, but Mel calls. Kimmy answers the phone. She looked nervous or uncomfortable. I'm not sure exactly why. Tisha wants to talk to Mel because she wanted to invite her to the spa day. Meanwhile, Mel was calling to ask Kimmy if she could get massages because she's planning something. I know a lot of people feel like Kimmy is pretending to not be as cool with Mel as she pretends to be with Mel in front of Tisha, but I don't think that's what it is. I don't. I think Kimmy wants Tisha and Mel to get along more than anybody else. I think she was probably shocked in that moment more than anything, and probably uncomfortable having to turn it on speakerphone. But she had to turn it on speakerphone because they doing a scene, so she can't have the conversation to her ear the way she normally would. So Mel agreed to go, yeah, okay, tell her to send me the info. Okay, cool. Anyway, girl, so you can get massages? Okay, cool, girl, because I was planning something. I think that was why Mel was like, anyway, like, girl, you knew I was the one that was supposed to plan a spa day, but okay. So y'all, Marcel and Tisha have dinner with their family. It's another perpetration to show that Marcel is trying to make an effort not to be an asshole, right? So he cooked for the kids, but as soon as they sit down, he's talking to the kids about how do they feel that their mom isn't cooking since she has more important things to do, you know, instead of cooking for them. I'm like, yeah, she does have more important things to do, like helping provide for them. They're all old enough to eat, and you can also cook. Like, they can eat on their own. Everybody's holding their own fucking head up around here these days. All of them kids is over the age of 9, it looked like. Okay, like maybe the youngest one might have been like, what, 8, 9, 7, around that age. But everybody seems old enough to go and make their own fucking cereal. So the idea that, you know, you're trying to shame Tisha in front of the kids is so lame and so whack. And everybody acts like it's a joke. But if you don't think that's going to affect the way your children feel about themselves, specifically your girl children, I can't stand him, y'all. Either way, the children were all like, why you can't cook? And the son was like, I would never let my spouse talk to me like that. And I just kind of was like, what you mean you would never let your spouse talk to you like that? What you mean? What you want your mama to do? Tell us what your mama should do right now in response to your daddy gaslighting her because he wants her to always be doing all of the cooking, even though he cooks better than her. The kids leave the table and she takes this time to let him know that she really doesn't appreciate him not letting her know before hiring Gino on and having him replace her at her desk, okay? Marcel proceeds to mansplain how she shouldn't be worried about the day-to-day because she's just the owner and he's the president. And, you know, she doesn't know as much as him and he doesn't know as much as Gino. So that means that she shouldn't be telling him what to do, just like he shouldn't be telling Gino what to do. I'm like, whoever owns the business dictates all of that. The person that owns the business absolutely dictates who is hired and fired. The fact that we're even having this conversation just shows how Marcel likes to flip and change the facts of life to suit his own bullshit narrative. Is Tisha in charge of the business or not? If she owns 85% of it, she should be in charge of the business. Yes, you can make day-to-day decisions, but don't hire somebody and put them in my fucking desk without telling me first. And the fact that she has to have this conversation with him where she is going back and forth, I don't have the patience for this because to me, I feel like the whole conversation is an assault on my intelligence. Tisha's whole existence with Marcel is so fucking exhausting to me because I would have simply said, you were wrong for that. That better not happen again. When I get to work tomorrow, I want my desk back and I want him moved somewhere else, or he can wait until he's provided another space. I'm the 85% owner and it's going to go that way. If it's not going to go that way, then we're going to have some fucking problems considering the fact that I'm the 85% owner. But anyway, y'all, Tisha brings all of the women together for the spa day. When Kiki gets there, they point out how much Tisha and Kiki look alike. And Kiki says she should be happy to look like her. Tiffany is making faces and shit. It's obvious that Tiffany has decided that Kiki is somebody that she don't like and she wants to voice her opinion about that. Her and Stormy are being really messy to me during this scene. I'm going to just keep it a buck. Then Tiffany puts a sock on her hand and asks if it can be considered a puppet, making fun of Tisha for the puppets at the reunion show. Tisha, you did look stupid, and the fact that they still making fun of you behind that, I think you deserve it. Tisha says that she's gonna send her a puppet that looked like her, and Tiffany was like, why? That's for kids, girl. It's gonna be for my baby. It ain't gonna be for me because I don't be like, well, you put a puppet on your hand, bitch. You're making yourself look stupid right now. It was supposed to be shade, and from what I understand, Stormy was doing it too, but they only focused on Tiffany. Tisha says you're about to get kicked out. And honestly, I wish that Tisha would have had that same energy towards Marcel. Mel gets there after everybody else. They try to relax, but Tiffany is bringing up Kiki and how she handled things with her cousin Tisha. And the way she was questioning Mel is like, so you feels like, you know, you're always about good energy. You feel like, you know, Kiki's a good person to bring around because the way she did Tisha, you know, I just kind of feel like she's not a good person. So I don't know if I want to be around her. And I'm just like, Tiffany, like, shut up. Like, I respect you for the mess of it all. I really, really do. But when Mel was like, I'm really enjoying the peace and serenity, the colors. I'm appreciating the vibe. It's peaceful. Peaceful. It's peaceful. And Tiffany was like, it sounds like a deflection. I said, oh, okay, Tiffany, come on, pop back. I like that. I like that, Tiffany. Tiffany said, Mel, sound like you deflecting. And Mel said, peaceful. So when Tiffany was talking that shit, I was like, Tiffany, you don't have the family background. So we really don't need to hear nothing from you about this. We know you were adopted and you felt unwanted by your family. So any act of disloyalty you know, it is very triggering for you, but we also need for you to understand, just as your parents, your biological parents, decided to cast you up the river, you couldn't trust them because they weren't good parents because they didn't want to be your parents. Okay, so understand how in families, people can sometimes be ain't shit family members. And that's just what it is. They don't like each other. It don't matter that they family. It don't matter that they family. They don't trust each other. They don't like each other. Too much damage has been done. You don't know nothing about it. So why are you getting all emotionally involved, Tiffany? Production? I think so. Kiki, Tisha, and Kimmy are talking in another room, and Kiki feels like Kimmy was on bullshit because essentially Kimmy and her may not have been super close, but they were, you know, friends enough or cool enough where she felt like Kimmy cared about her. So she thought it was foul for Kimmy to take, you know, her being at Mel's slumber party back to Tisha and tell her everything that was said when nothing was really said in the first place. And Kimmy was like, oh, so you don't think you instigated the problem when you took your ass over to Mel's party? Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Kimmy on that one. You could try to blame Kimmy, but Kimmy was doing exactly what you would have wanted her to do, being on your cousin's side. Remember when you checked Kimmy because she didn't lie about Tisha and Kimmy talking shit about Mel behind her back, and Kimmy said it at the reunion show, and so Tisha then brought Kiki on the show to check Kimmy about that. So when we got to that season and Kimmy was feeling bullied to make sure that she was on the Scott's family side, she made sure to bring that up to Tisha so that she could protect Tisha. Much didn't have to be said. Tisha was going to feel away anyway because Tisha is going to feel away about the fact that her cousin is somewhere with Mel. I don't like Mel, so what the fuck wrong with you hanging out with Mel? Kiki says, y'all always want to talk about me, but what about the shit that Stormy was saying? Because Stormy was very much being a fan of the show. Stormy was very much questioning Kimmy about, you know, Maurice, deflecting from what's going on with him and putting it on Marcel. So, yeah, we should be talking about that too, okay? Stormy heard her name. She came and joined. And so Kiki confronts her, and Tiffany says, listen, I've seen Tisha cry because of your friendship with Mel, and I feel like family should come first. Kiki says, you don't know what you're talking about. Stormy has to keep telling Tiffany to just calm down because she's pregnant. That would aggravate the fuck out of me. Excuse me, ma'am. Let her worry about her child. If she wants to get up here and argue with somebody about some shit that ain't got nothing to do with her, even though she's pregnant, let her do that.